You never get enough praises into this great King. And what he gives us life.
That's right.
And just having life. And as long as you have life, no matter what you've done in the past, you could always repent before this great King. Am I right or wrong?
Right.
So we thank God for life, that he gives us a chance to repent. Say, this is a merciful God. The God who extends his arm of redemption to the nation of Yisrael. And he brought us back from the predicaments that all of us were in.
Right.
Some of us were in a state of mind of doing whatever you wanted to do. But the Most High has found it fit for you to be here, to praise his high and holy name. Because it is about praising the Most High God. And in praising them, we understand and know that he is God alone. Besides him, there is no other king. No matter how you put it, no matter how you say it, there is no other king but Yahweh.
That's right.
So we thank him for our lives. And we thank him for everything that he has given us in our lives, for our children. We thank him for our parents. We thank him for our brothers and sisters. Because some of us are in here, but our family, our biological family is not here.
Right.
And don't even understand what you went to. But you have an extended family. The Most High has given you an extended family that you can interact with. The Most High has given you an extended family that if you have to go somewhere and you need someone to watch your child, that you could leave him with a brother that do something like how you do. You can leave him with a sister that does something like how you do. And you don't have to worry about your parents or grandparents slipping something unclean to your kids. Something unclean to eat. Because we have an understanding and we know that we're not going to poison our children. Am I right or wrong?
Right.
At least some of us. Thank God for the understanding that we all have. There's many people out there, you know, the worst thing that you can have is to lose your mind. Because when you lose your mind, it's like you're not even on this earth. The Most High has given you a well-functioning mind. I don't hear about people in this congregation in cancer or having any bad diseases. Thank God for that. You hear of young people having heart attacks. You hear of young people with diabetes. You hear of people with all types of high blood pressure, all types of things. Thank God that he's given us the dietary law that we have, that it's a natural preventative against all of that.
That's right. That's right.
If you follow it and you do the things you're supposed to do, because you could go contrary to that too, you know. And guess what? All those things will happen to you. You say, well, why the Most High caused this to happen to me? The Most High didn't cause anything to happen to you. You caused it to yourself. You brought it upon yourself. The Most High made us choose. Choose life. And Moses told us to choose life. You know? So it's up to us to understand and know what we're supposed to do. We didn't make robots. He made us a wise and understanding people so that we might be able to discern what's good and what's bad. And it's up to, and it is up to us to choose the right and the matter all the time. Life is a continuous test. Every day is a test. And if we fail more than we pass, then we're leaning on that side of how you say it, we're leaning on the side of wickedness and evil. But if we pass more than we fail, then that means we're getting better. And that's what we're striving for. To be better, to be a better cut of people. My people said, why do my people perish? For a lack of knowledge. Why do they perish for a lack of knowledge? Because my people won't open up a book and look to see who is the Most High talking about. My people won't open up a book. They say, how can you hide something from an N-word? So hide it in a book. They'll never open it. What happened to us? What happened to us that we won't open up a book and read and try to gain understanding? We perish because we have no knowledge. We perish because we have no understanding. Because we have no love for this great King. But in the return, the Most High said that he will save us. That he would draw us, he said that he would draw us out of the captivities that we're in. Said that he would gather us from all four parts of the world. And that he will bring us back to being the people and to attain that position in the earth that he promised our fathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that we will be priests to all the nations. That we will be priests to all the nations. So today I want to go into the book of Isaiah chapter 52. So what I'm really going into is the book of Isaiah chapter 53. But in order to read Isaiah 53, you have to start from Isaiah chapter 52 verse 13. Because that's where it begins. If you notice anything about our book, our Tanakh, you know, it wasn't numbered. It wasn't put in chapters. If you open up the scroll, right, the scroll doesn't separate by chapters. As we came as people started to get a hold of the book, they started to separate it into chapters to make it more understandable to people. But if you get a scroll, you will see that it's just a continuing book that just reads out, you know. So in order, as the way that we have our Tanakhs and we have our Bibles, it's separated as Isaiah 52 and Isaiah 53. But Isaiah chapter 52, Isaiah chapter 53 really begins at Isaiah chapter 52 verse 13. If you read it, and it will make sense to you as we read it along. That's right. It says, before we examine Isaiah 53 verse by verse, some preliminary issues must be considered. Isaiah 53 is only understood properly when read in the context of the Hebrew Bible, or the Tanakh as a whole. Early on in the book of Isaiah, God had predicted exile and calamity for the Hebrew people. Chapter 53, however, occurs in the midst of Isaiah's message of consolation, which tells of the supposed restoration of Israel to a position of prominence and a vindication of their status as God's chosen people. In chapter 52, for example, Israel is described as oppressed without cause in verse 4. So let's go there. Isaiah chapter 52 verse 4. Started from verse 3.
Isaiah chapter 52 verse 3. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
But thus saith Jehovah, you were sold for naught, and ye shall be redeemed without money.
This is talking about the nation of Israel, no other people. Let's go.
For thus saith Jehovah God, by my people went down aforetime into Egypt to sojourn there, and the Assyrian oppressed them without cause.
And we were oppressed without cause.
Now therefore, what do I hear, saith Jehovah? Seeing that my people was taken away for naught. We were taken away for naught. So this is the prophecy of what was to happen, or what happened to the nation of Israel. Now I'm going to read on. It says, taken away. Then verse 5, yet God promised a brighter future ahead, one in which Israel will again prosper and be redeemed in the sight of all the nations. That's the promise that we're waiting for today. That the Most High promised us that he will bring us back to the land which he promised our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Chapter 54 further elaborates upon the redemption which awaits the nation of Israel, speaking clearly of the Hebrew people and their status. Even according to all Christian commentaries, chapter 54 ends as follows. Let's go there to the end of chapter 54. Verse 17 or verse 16?
Verse 17.
No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of Jehovah, and their due reward from me, saith Jehovah. At the end of days it shall be well with Yisrael. That's what the Most High is saying. Regardless of what's going to happen between chapter 52 and chapter 54, that at the end of it all, we're going to be redeemed. And he's going to bring us back to our right state and to where we're supposed to be in the earth.
That's right.
So let's go to, hold on for a second. In the original Hebrew text, there are no chapter divisions. And Hebrew and Christian scholars agree that chapter 53 is actually a continuation of prophecy which begins at 53, 52, 13. According to our analysis must begin at the verse. So we start from Isaiah chapter 52 verse 13, and it reads, behold, my servant shall prosper, he shall be exalted and lifted up, and shall be very high. So let's start first by looking at that my servant. Israel is in the singular is called God's servant throughout Isaiah, both explicitly and implicitly. Meaning, in the singular form, the Most High has described and spoken about a whole nation. So let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 41, verse 8 through 9. And let's see what it reads, where the Most High speaks about Israel in the singular.
Singular, right.
Isaiah chapter 41, verse 8
and 9.
And 9. But thou, Yisrael, my servant, that's in the singular. It's talking about Israel, a whole nation, in the singular form. Let's go. Jacob, whom I have chosen.
Jacob is a singular name.
The seed of Abraham, my friend.
My friend, go ahead.
Thou whom I have taken hold of from the ends of the earth, and called thee from the uttermost parts thereof, and said unto thee, thou art my servant.
You hear that? My servant. Let's go to the book of Isaiah chapter 44, verse 1 and 2. We're going to go to all the spots where the Most High speaks of Israel in the singular form.
Isaiah chapter 44, verse 1 and 2. Yet now hear, O Jacob, my servant, and Yisrael, whom I have chosen.
You hear that? Yet now hear, O Jacob, my servant. In the singular, once again, he's talking about the whole nation. I'm trying to draw a picture so that you can see it. Let's go.
Thus saith Jehovah that made thee, and formed thee from the womb, who will help thee. Fear not, O Jacob, my servant.
My servant,
And thou Yeshurun, whom I have chosen.
You hear that? In the singular form again. So now let's go to the book of Isaiah 45, verse 4.
Isaiah 45, verse 4. For the sake of Jacob, my servant, and Yisrael, mine elect.
For the sake of Jacob, my servant, once more, in the singular form. And Israel, mine elect. Singular. We belong to the Most High God.
That's right. Come on.
I have called thee by thy name. I have surnamed thee, though thou hast not known me.
So when the Most High, he speaks to the nation, he speaks to us as if a father's talking to his child.
Right.
In the singular form. Let's go to the book of Isaiah chapter 48, verse 20.
Isaiah chapter 48, verse 20. Go ye forth from Babylon, flee ye from the Chaldeans. With the voice of singing, declare ye, tell this, utter it even into the end of the earth. Say ye, Jehovah hath redeemed his servant Jacob.
His servant Jacob, in the singular again. Let's go to the book of Isaiah 49, 3.
Isaiah chapter 49, verse 3. And he said unto me, thou art my servant, Israel, in whom I will be glorified.
So how much more proof do you need to know that God speaks of Israel in the singular form? He's speaking, he's addressing a whole nation in the singular form. Let's go to the book of Exodus chapter 4, verse 22. And this is one we read all the time.
Exodus chapter 4, verse 22. And thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, thus saith Jehovah, Israel is my son, my firstborn.
Israel is my son, my firstborn. In the singular, he's talking about a whole nation again. So I just want to clear this thing out so that when we read down and we start to understand who this servant is, that his servant is that is speaking about, that you know that Israel is talked about in the singular form.
Right.
Let's go back to the book of Isaiah chapter 52.
The book of Isaiah chapter 52 verse 13. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Behold, my servant shall prosper. He shall be exalted and lifted up and shall be very high. According as many were appalled at thee, so marked was his visage unlike that of a man, and his form unlike that of the sons of men.
You hear that? So now this is the nations talking about that servant. Let's go.
So shall he startle many nations. Kings shall shut their mouths because of him. For that which had not been told them shall they see, and that which they had not heard shall they perceive.
You hear that? So now the nations is going to be startled at the visage of God's people, because they knew from the state we came from.
Right.
So now when the nation see us, they're going to cover their mouth. They're going to say, what happened to Israel?
Yeah.
It's like the little side gossip. What happened to them? What happened to Johnny? Johnny used to be wearing them Gucci sneakers and he used to have that Armani suit on and he used to be going to work and had a BMW. And look at Johnny now. He got he's crackhead status now. He got holes in his shoes.
Somebody else's pants.
He wearing Jordache jeans. He don't wear Armani anymore. He don't got that confidence, and he lost so much weight, child. He lost about 40 pounds. What's wrong with Johnny? That's what the nation seen. And when they looked at us, they said, what happened to Israel? We was the gossip of the East.
There you go. That's right.
We was the gossip because we came from such a great state to a low status. The Most High brought us down low. And this is what the prophet is talking about. So now, when you look at 52, verse 15 through 53, 1. So shall he, the servant, startle many nations. The kings will stand speechless for that which had not been told them. They shall see, and that which they had not heard shall they ponder. Who will believe what we have heard? Quite clearly, the nations and their kings will be amazed at what happens to the servant of Yah. And they will say, who will believe what we have heard? No one is going to believe. You know, tell us explicitly that this is the nations of the world, the Gentiles, who are doing the talking in Isaiah 53. This is the nations, because remember, the nations conspired, remember, to destroy us. So when they seen us in that low state, they were startled because they didn't believe that God would let us go like that. Because we was God people. That was known through the East. We were the only people in the East that had the concept of one God.
There you go.
So they understood and knew that Jehovah was our God. And during the dynasty of King David and Shalom, they implemented that in the East.
Come on.
Nobody could come through Jerusalem and run nothing when David and Solomon was there. Nobody could come through the East and run nothing. Not in Jerusalem, not in Israel.
That's right.
Because they implemented the one God thing in the East. Everybody else had many gods.
All right. Yeah, knickknacks.
They had gods that were no gods.
There you go. There you go.
But Jehovah delivered us. I'm talking about the same God that split the Red Sea, people.
That's right.
I'm talking about the same God that repaid to your face. The same God that when Zedekiah didn't want to listen to the prophet Jeremiah, the last thing that he seen was King Nebuchadnezzar come down to Babylon and kill his sons and then pluck his eyes out. I'm talking about that God.
There you go.
The God that repaid you to your face. I'm talking about the God that when Shimshon got caught by the Philistines, right? And he called out for the Most High God when they had him as a servant. And he leaned upon those pillars where they were making sport of him. He said, God, he said, Jehovah, he said, you will deliver these people into my hand this one last time. And the Most High brought his strength back to him. And he killed thousands of people there with him. That's the God that I'm talking about. I'm not talking about a knick-knack God. I'm not talking about a God that you chase through a town and you hang him up on a cross and can't help himself. I'm not talking about that.
No, come on.
I'm talking about the God who put Israel in this predicament.
Right. Heaven and earth.
The creator of the heavens and the earth. The one who yesterday the prognosticator said it was supposed to snow about 3 to 6 inches and he made rain come down. That's the God I'm talking about. That's the God I'm talking about. You can say all you want to say.
That's right.
7 inches of snow. 2 feet high of snow. And it'll be 60 degrees.
That's right.
You can't figure God out.
There you go. There you go.
You can't figure him out. You can't put a tag on him.
No, you can't.
You can't say, I got you, God.
Take his picture. No.
You can't take his picture and hang out with him.
No.
He's the God that keep you guessing, baby.
That's right. That's right.
Is it left or is it right? That's the God I'm talking about. So now the nations were startled. They couldn't believe what happened to Israel.
Come on. Read the word. Come on.
And it says, read on Isaiah 53.
Isaiah 53.
Who
would have believed our report? And to whom hath the arm of Jehovah been revealed?
To whom hath the hand of Jehovah been revealed? In Isaiah and throughout the Hebrew Bible, God's arm refers to the physical redemption of Israel from the oppression of other nations. Let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 52, verses 8 through 12. And let's see what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Verse 8. Hark, thy watchmen, they lift up the voice, together do they sing. For they shall see eye to eye Yahweh returning to Zion.
The Most High bringing the Most High returning to Zion, meaning that He will dwell in the midst of us again. Let's go.
Break forth into joy, sing together, ye waste places of Jerusalem.
The Most High is going to bring life to these places again. Let's go.
For Yahweh hath comforted His people, He hath redeemed Jerusalem.
The Most High has redeemed Jerusalem. Let's go.
Yahweh hath made bare His holy arm in the eyes of all the nations.
So that's the way the Most High refers to us. He said He bears His holy arm, and this is a symbol of redemption to the entire nation of Israel. Right. So every time you hear it mentioned in the book where the Most High say He bore his holy arm and He's bringing us back, He gathering. That's a symbol, symbolizes like Him gathering us back again
to His holy calling.
To His holy calling. You know, it's like when you gather something with your arms, like you bring it together, you bring it close to your body so that you can bring it back with you, whatever it might be. You got groceries, you got whatever. That's the symbolism of His holy arm. Gathering us back from all the places He scattered us. Right. That's the holy arm of the Most High God. Come on. Read on.
And all the ends of the earth shall see the salvation of our God.
And all the ends of the earth shall see the salvation. That means that this is going to be a sure thing that all nations are going to see. Let's go.
Depart ye, go ye out from thence, touch no unclean thing. Go ye out of the midst of her, be ye clean, ye that bear the vessels of Yahweh.
So on the comeback, we have to purify our spirits. We have to purify our souls. The Most High is not taking us back tarnished.
That's right. Come on.
The Most High is going to take a pure people back.
That's right.
Wholly determined with righteousness.
People of confession.
Let's go.
For ye shall not go out in haste, neither shall ye go by flight. For Yahweh will go before you, and the God of Yisrael will be your rearward.
And Yahweh will be our salvation. He'll be our protection. Let's go to the book of Isaiah chapter 63 verse 12. Talk about the holy arm of the Most High. 63:12.
Isaiah chapter 63 verse 12. That caused His glorious arm to go at the right hand of Moshe, that divided the water before them to make Himself an everlasting name.
That caused His glorious arm to go at the right hand of Moshe. When Moshe raised up that scepter and that Red Sea was split, that was the Most High God. Because Moses was in the stead of the Most High God. And once again, He saved this people, Yisrael, from the destruction of the Egyptians. When all Israel was scared, when Moses didn't know what to do, it was the Most High who delivered us. It was his right arm that gathered us again and caused us to go across that dry sea, the bed of the sea, in dry ground, and made us cross that Red Sea, that sea of reeds. Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy chapter 4:34.
Deuteronomy chapter 4 verse 34. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Or hath Yahweh essayed to go and take him a nation from the midst of another nation, by trials, by signs, and by wonders, and by war, and by a mighty hand, and by an outstretched arm, and by great terrors, according to all that Yahweh your God did for you in Egypt before thine eyes?
Once again, that arm, gathering His people, brought His people out of Egypt.
In the midst of a nation.
Out of the midst of a nation. The Most High gathered us. Not Moses. Moses wasn't the gatherer of Israel. It was the Most High God. And so when the Most High heard our cry in Egypt, that's when He sent Moses down there to get His people out of there. But it was the Most High who's the one who gathered His people.
That's right.
Go back to Isaiah. Isaiah 53. Y'all got it? Let's go.
Isaiah chapter 53 verse 2. For he shot up right forth as a sapling, and as a root out of a dry ground.
Now it's talking about the beginning of us, the beginning of Yisrael. That's how we shot up out of the ground. You know, like a sapling, like a young tree. Let's go.
He had no form nor comeliness.
We didn't look beautiful. People rejected us. Egyptians wouldn't even sit down with us. They said, they're a whole bunch of shepherds. We don't sit down with shepherds. They dirty people. They dirty people. We don't sit down with them. Let's go.
That we should look upon Him, nor beauty that we should delight in Him.
But the Most High seen that beauty in us. Right. The nations didn't have to see it, but the Most High seen it. That's why He made the promise to Abraham. Abraham was a shepherd. Right. And that's what He passed down to his son. And that's what he passed down to his son. And that's what Jacob passed down to all of his 12 sons. They were shepherds. They knew how to tend the cattle. They were men of the ground. And in a world where there's so much land, wouldn't that be the best thing to be? When you could work the ground, when you could bring up cattle, and they were still rich. They still had money.
That's right.
Read on.
He was despised and forsaken of men, a man of pains and acquainted with disease, and as one from whom men hide their face.
So let's stop right there, because a lot of people like to attribute this to the Christ, to the man that they call Jesus Christ. They like to attribute this to him. But let's go. Israel's adversities are frequently likened to sickness. Let's go to the book of Isaiah chapter 1 verse 5 and 6. Our adversities are always likened to sickness.
Isaiah chapter 1 verse 5 and 6. On what part will you yet be stricken? Seeing ye stray away more and more.
It's talking about the nation of Israel once again. Us straying away from the Most High, like we always do. He gives us a chance and we always find a way to stray away. It's like a dog that you got in your house. You let him out, he's gone. He runs away 20 blocks, but then he always comes back. That's a stray. After a while, he becomes a stray. You know, let's go.
The whole head is sick and the whole heart faint.
The whole head is sick. It's talking about our condition. Not saying that we mentally in a way, we are mentally retarded in a way, because the people that you got to keep talking to over and over and over again, there's a mental problem in there. There's something wrong there, unstable, as the brother said. There's something wrong there. It's a little challenge there. You know what I'm saying? Something that's not clicking just right. Because if you got to keep telling the same people something over and over and over again, something got to be wrong. But our state is compared to as a sickness, not a something per se that a physical sickness, but something that's speaking like in a how you say it no, something maybe like figuratively speaking, you know, not saying that this is concrete that you're sick, but it's just our state of mind and how we carry. We just ill. You know, it's just talking about our state of mind being ill. Let's go.
From the sole of the foot even unto the head, there is no soundness in it.
There's no soundness in it because we don't take correction. We don't take wisdom, knowledge. We don't take it in. Read on.
But wounds and bruises and festering sores, they have not been pressed, neither bound up, neither mollified with oil. You
hear that? Wounds. It says wounds, bruises, and festering sores. All the beatings that we take. And not talking about a physical beating like how you give your children. Not talking about that. The way the Most High put us down. And we still don't want to acknowledge Him. So that's the sickness that we're acquainted to. Let's go back to the book of Isaiah 53. Go ahead. It said, He was despised and we esteemed Him not. That means that while we were being shunned away by the nations and the nations were doing what they wanted to do with us, that they actually didn't treat us the way that they were supposed to treat us, being the sons of the Most High God. Because you see, once they had us down, just like in this captivity, you see, they never thought that we would start reading again. They never thought that we would come to knowledge of ourselves again. That's why at one point, don't you know that it was illegal for a slave to read, to learn how to read, to learn how to write? Because that was the conspiracy that they had against us.
Right.
But wherever man proposes to do things, God disposes of them.
Right.
And now we're back. We're back. We're not better than ever yet, but we're back. We're starting to take that dross off. We're starting to open up our eyes and take the cold away from our eyes. We're back.
Isaiah 53 verse 4. Surely our diseases He did bear, and our pains He carried.
Let's go to the book of Matthew chapter 8 verse 17, because this is what they contribute to JJ. It says, surely our diseases He did bear, and our pains He carried. Right? So let's see what Matthew says. We usually don't go into the New Testament, but this is just to show a point. Matthew, hold on. Matthew's chapter 8, verse 17. And let's see what they try to say. Start from verse 16.
Matthew chapter 8, verse 16. When the even was come, they brought unto him many that were possessed with devils. And
mine says, who were demon possessed. Let's go.
And he cast out the spirits with his word, and healed all that was sick. That it might be fulfilled which was spoken by Isaiah the prophet.
Isaiah the prophet. Go ahead.
Saying, himself took our infirmities and bare our sicknesses.
So now, does this mean that he bore the sickness of the people? And say he cast out the demons from the people. And say he bore no sicknesses. So they try to use our book to try to relate it to something in the New Testament, which has no meaning and have no significance, connection, or anything.
No relation.
It's not connected.
That's right.
They say he cast out the demon. Mosai never said nothing about us casting out demons from nobody, but I'm just telling you what the New Testament did. He did an exorcism. You know what I mean? He cast out the demon. That don't mean that he bore the iniquities.
Right.
That's not what that means.
That's not in our book.
That's not in our book, but they try to relate it to the Old Testament and try to say this is what the prophet Isaiah said. So this is one discrepancy with that. With this and what the Christians try to connect it with the Christ, with Jesus.
That's a big discrepancy.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Isaiah.
Isaiah chapter 53, in the middle of verse 4. Whereas we did esteem him stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted. But he was wounded because of our transgressions. He was crushed because of our iniquity.
Hold on for a second. Yet we ourselves esteem him stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted. Let's go to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 30, verse 17.
For I will restore health unto thee, and I will heal thee of thy wounds, saith Jehovah.
Jehovah said he will heal us of our wounds.
Because they have called thee an outcast. She is Zion. There is none that cared for her.
We was that nation that no one cared for. Israel. We was that nation. Not no man. You can't attribute this chapter to a man. It's talking about the nation of Israel. We were the one that was stricken and looked at as an outcast by the other nations. Still do.
Yeah, that's right.
You live it today, every day.
That's right.
At your jobs. You live it. You got to work harder than everybody at your job. So we understand and know that we're talking about the wounded and the one that all this happened to is the nation of Israel. Where we at, man? Chief Makubali.
53, the middle of 4.
We at 53, verse 5.
Verse 5?
Okay.
Yeah. Come on, baby.
But he was wounded because of our transgressions. He was crushed because of our iniquities. The chastisement of our welfare was upon him, and with his stripes we were healed. It's
talking about the nation of Israel. The kings of the nations is talking about how we were punished for what they had done.
Babylonians.
Come on, teach.
For what they had done, because they seen it. They seen where we came from. They seeing that. It's not talking about a Christ or someone who came and died for the sins of the world. It's not talking about that. You see, where Christian scholars got that from was from a lot of Talmudic writings that used to talk about a Messiah coming back and stuff like that. And then what they did, they took it and they tried to connect it to their religion. But it had nothing to do with the Most High God. This is talking about the nation of Israel. And I already showed it to you where the Most High spoke of Israel in the singular form, where he spoke of us and called us his servant, where he talked about Israel being punished and being hurt. You know what I'm saying? And all these things are attributed to the nation of Yisrael and the kings of the nations talking about Israel. Not talking about a Christ or someone who came. As you can see, it's never going to be mentioned in none of these chapters about the coming back of a Christ or anything like that.
No.
why is it that the Most High would not mention that?
Right.
Why would the prophet Isaiah, if it was something that was so prominent and something that would have been so big, don't you think that the Most High would have revealed it to the prophet Isaiah and he would have wrote it down so that we wouldn't be sitting down here 2008 in confusion and debating whether or not this is talking about a Savior that's supposed to come back and save the world?
Okay. Okay.
It would have been made clear.
That's right.
He would have put a name there. It would have said,
his name should be called.
it would have said, but Jesus was wounded because of our transgressions.
There you go, plain.
It would have said that.
Clear.
All right, you don't like Jesus? It would have said, but Yehoshua was wounded because of our transgressions. Why would the Most High lead us astray?
Right.
And put us in a whirlwind? In a whirlpool where we can't understand, where we spinning, chasing our tails. When we got many instances in the Tanakh where it speaks of Israel in these same form and in this same way.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Verse 6.
Hold on. Notice above how the Christians mistranslate and write for our transgressions rather than from our transgressions. Let's go.
Verse 6. All we like sheep did go astray. We turned everyone to his own way.
Hold on for a second. Whereas the nations had thought the servant Israel was undergoing divine retribution for its sins, they now realize that the servant's sufferings stem from their actions and sinfulness. Our suffering came from the way that we acted towards God.
That's right. That's right.
We were warned before time.
Yeah. B time. B time.
The prophet Jeremiah, Isaiah, they brought it to us.
Early in the morning. That's right.
Most I said, don't worry about their face, Isaiah. Go down there and tell them. Tell them of their wrong. But they grown men and their faces is like stone. Don't worry about that. So who made the tongue? Who made the mouth? I did. Go down there and tell them what I said. So we were warned.
That's right.
Read on.
And Yahweh hath made to light on him.
What verse you at?
In the middle of 6. And Yahweh hath made to light on him the iniquity of us all.
Hold on for a second. Hold right there. Throughout, all right, so now I'm going to read. It says, this theme is further developed throughout the Hebrew Tanakh, or the Bible as they call it.
Right.
Note that the Davidic Messiah, according to Israelites, shall not fail nor be crushed till he has set the right in the earth. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 42, verse 4. Let's go start from the beginning so that they know who we talking about.
Yeah, come on.
We're going to start from Isaiah chapter 42, verse 1. Behold, my servant whom I uphold, mine elect in whom my soul delighteth. I have put my spirit upon him. He shall make the right to go forth to the nations. He shall not cry, nor lift up, nor cause his voice to be heard in the street. A bruised reed shall he not break, and the dimly burning wick shall he not quench.
You hear that? He gonna talk so softly to you, he not gonna even break nothing up. He not gonna put out the light. He gonna be smooth. Let's go.
He shall make the right to go forth according to the truth.
He shall go the right to go forth according to the truth. The truth of the Most High. He gonna make them go straight. Let's go.
He shall not fail nor be crushed till he have set the right in the earth. And the owl shall wait for his teaching.
The owl shall wait for his teaching. So when this man comes, where it talks about, what we talks about in our book, is talk about the prophet Elijah coming back and setting things back all right. And never spoke about any Jesus coming back. It spoke about the prophet Elijah coming back. By name.
By name, that's right.
By name, Eliyahu. It says Elijah will come back. It said he will set the hearts of the fathers back to the sons, and the hearts of the mothers of the sons back to the fathers.
That's right.
That's right. That's what it spoke about. You know what I mean? So if you the servant of the Most High, and if Isaiah 53 is talking about the so-called Christ, then why would he be punished? Why would he be bruised if he came to do his job?
That's right. It makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
Why would he?
The anointed of the Most High said, touch not my anointed, do my prophets no harm.
He failed. That's it.
He must have failed at his job.
Yeah, he gotta come back again. Do over.
Do a reset. Hit the reset button.
Read one.
Isaiah chapter 53, verse 6. Look at it.
Go ahead.
All we like sheep did go astray. We turned everyone to his own way. And Yahweh hath made to light on him the iniquity of us all. He was oppressed, though he humbled himself, and opened not his mouth.
Let's stop right there.
That's right, baby.
He was oppressed and he was afflicted, yet he did not open his mouth. Like a lamb that is led to the slaughter, and like a sheep that is silent before its shearers. So he did not open his mouth. Note that in prior chapter, Isaiah 52, Israel is said to have been oppressed and taken away without cause. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 52, verse 4 and 5.
Come on, come on.
Isaiah chapter 52.
We read this already. Let's go.
For thus saith Jehovah God, my people went down aforetime into Egypt to sojourn there, and the Assyria oppressed them without cause.
You connect that to Isaiah 53. Let's go.
Now therefore, what do I hear, saith Jehovah? Seeing that my people is taken away for naught, they that rule over them do howl, saith Jehovah, and my name continually all the day is blasphemed.
And my name continually all the day is blasphemed. Coupling God's name with a God that's a no God.
Right, right.
That's how you blaspheme God's name.
Yeah. Thank you, JJ.
And then it said, Israel is said to have been oppressed and taken away without cause. A similar theme is developed in Psalm 44, wherein King David speaks of Israel's faithfulness even in the face of Gentile oppression. Psalms 44, 17 and 18. Give me a chance. Hold on. Let's go. You're killing me, Francis. Go ahead.
Chapter 44, verse 17 and 18. For the voice of him that taunteth and blasphemeth, by reason of the enemy and the revengeful. All this is come upon us, yet have we not forgotten thee, neither have we been false to thy covenant.
Yeah, so when all the nations came down on us, we didn't say anything.
Okay.
We stayed there silent and quiet because we knew the punishment that came upon us was of God.
That's right.
That's right. We were forewarned of what was to happen to us.
Right.
So this is what it's talking about in Isaiah. So you see, we could connect our book.
Right.
We could connect the dots with our book.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Isaiah 53.
But JJ cried out.
Oh, I'm going to get to that in a second. Hold on for a second.
Isaiah chapter 53.
Hold on. Regarding the claim that Jesus did not open his mouth when faced with oppression and affliction, let's go to the book of Matthew chapter 27, 46. You say he ain't opened his mouth when he got oppressed. Let's see if he opened his mouth or not. And let's see if Isaiah 53 is talking about Jesus. Because remember, they said this servant didn't open his mouth when he was oppressed. But let's see what it talks about Jesus, and let's see if he opened his mouth.
Matthew chapter 27, verse
46.
46. And about the 9th hour, Jesus cried with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. That is to say, my God, why hast thou forsaken me?
That don't sound like a servant that was quiet, that went away quietly. That sounds like somebody that was crying out.
Yeah, blasphemy. That's right.
Someone that blasphemed, like my brother Chief Nazi El Ben Lewi said.
Oh God,
if David said, he said, I was young. He said, and now I am old. He said, yet I have never seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. So if he was righteous, he would not have been forsaken by the Most High God. That's what King David said. And he came hundreds of years before that story of Jesus ever came on the earth.
That's right.
And David was what? He was loved.
Oh, yeah.
He said, he's like the apple of my eye.
That's right.
Beloved of God. Ain't that what his name means?
Oh, that's what it means. That's what it means. That we
Well beloved.
He lived up to that.
And he lived up to that. He said he was old. He said he was young and now he's old. He said he never seen that righteous forsaken. So see, that means that you can't touch the anointed of the Most High. He came here for a job, and how you gonna get drug all over a town? And how you gonna get beaten up and you the anointed of God?
Headlock.
Unbelievable.
Priest of God.
Let's go to the book of John, 18:23. Let's see if he cried out. 18:23. In fact, 18:19 through 23.
John 18:19 through 23.
Go ahead.
The high priest then asked Jesus of his disciples and of his doctrine. Jesus answered him, I spake openly to the world. I ever taught in the synagogue and in the temple, whither the Jews always resort, and in secret have I said nothing. Why askest thou me? Ask them which heard me, what have I said unto them? Behold, they know what I said. And when he had thus spoken, one of the officers which stood by struck Jesus with the palm of his hand, saying, Answerest thou the high priest so?
So he's talking, so he gets slick with the mouth. You know what I mean? He gets slick with the tongue. He try to say that, he try to tell the high priest something slick. And one of them, boy, you know who you're talking to. You know who you're talking to, boy.
Watch your mouth.
Watch your mouth, boy. That's the high priest.
That's right.
And now, this is a point of being oppressed and being put under fire and scrutiny. And let's see how Jesus reacts. Let's go.
Jesus answered him, If I have spoken evil, bear witness of the evil. But if well, why smitest thou me?
He was supposed to stay quiet if he was that oppressed servant. He was supposed to be quiet as they say, a church mouse. He's supposed to be quiet. Nah, but when his back got put against the wall, he cried out.
Both times.
Both times. He cried out. Let's go back to Isaiah 53.
Isaiah chapter 53, verse 7. He was oppressed, though he humbled himself, and opened not his mouth. So we already see that Jesus opened his mouth when he was oppressed. Let's go. As a lamb that is led to the slaughter, and as a sheep that before her shearers is dumb, yea, he opened not his mouth. And we know that that's not true because he opened his mouth. Verse 8. By oppression and judgment he was taken away, and with his generation who did reason? And with his generation. Let's talk about that generation. Because generation has to do with posterity, am I right or wrong? Did Jesus have any children?
No.
Huh? No. Did Jesus have any children? No. So what generation are they talking about if you attribute this to Jesus?
Yeah, because
did he have any children?
No, he didn't.
With his generation. Once again, the Most High went into the singular, but he's describing the nation of Israel.
Hallelujah. Come on.
Not the Most High, but the people.
Come on, Chief.
The kings of the nation is talking about. And what the prophet Isaiah has written down.
Right.
It can't be talking about a Christ. It's impossible. They try to pull the wool over our eyes. It cannot be talking about a Christ. Read on.
By oppression and judgment he was taken away, and with his generation who did reason?
All right. It says by oppression and judgment he was taken away. But let's go into the Christian book, now into the Tanakh, and read that same verse and see what kind of tricks they try to play on us in Isaiah right there.
Placed by the Gideons.
So the reason why I'm going to the Christian book, because this is the wordplay that they use to try to trick our people. This is the wordplay that they use. So if you're not circumspect, and if you don't have your Tanakh, you see, they could catch you with the King James Version. Because the King James Version has certain interpolations in them that's designed to get people like us slipped up. That's why you got to walk with your sword. You got to get you your Tanakh. You got to get you your Hebrew scripture so that you can read it straight out of it. And you can understand what you're reading.
Isaiah chapter 53 in the James Version. He was taken from prison.
Hold on. This is not the King James. This is Gideon.
All right, this is Gideon.
This is Gideon's, but it's still the same thing. It's a Christian book. Let's go.
Gideon uses the King James.
Uses the King James. Thank you, Chief.
Verse 8. He was taken from prison and from judgment.
And from judgment. So when you read that, you would think that he was sitting in a position of judgment, because remember, what they try to tell us about the Christ is that he's a descendant from King David.
Okay.
and that he was anointed. So when you read it like that, you know, it seems like, oh man, he was taken from judgment, like he was sitting in a seat of judgment, which is false. But when you read in the Holy Scriptures, it says what?
By oppression and judgment, he was taken away.
It's a whole different thing. It's wordplay. By oppression and judgment, he was taken away. Okay. He was judged and he was oppressed. That's how he was taken away. Not that he was taken from the position of a judge. No, it's something totally different. Stay in the Torah, in the Tanakh. I mean, Salika.
Back to verse 8. By oppression and judgment, he was taken away. And with his generation, who did reason?
No one reasoned with us. Is people reasoning with us? Do people give us a chance? No. As a people, people see us as being condemned. People say sayings like, I'd rather be anything but a Negro. I'd rather be anything but one of those black folks down there in Harlem. I don't want to be like none of those black people over there in Bed-Stuy, East New York, Brownsville. Let's go. They said they making their way out there too. Huh? Let's go.
For he was cut off out of the land of the living for the transgression of my people to whom the stroke was due.
All right, so let's wait there for a second. And let's go into the book of he was cut out of the land of the living. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 11 and 14. Not physically that we all died, but this is symbolically talking about the nation being cut out of the land of the living. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 11 and 14.
Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 11.
Through 14.
Through 14. Then he said unto me.
That he is the Most High God. Speaking to it's in capital letter. And it's speaking to the prophet Ezekiel. It says what?
Son of man, these bones are the whole house of Yisrael. Behold, they say, our bones are dried up, and our hope is lost. We are clean cut off.
This is just a symbolic state of the nation of Yisrael. Let's go.
Therefore prophesy and say unto them, thus saith Jehovah God, behold, I will open your graves and cause you to come up out of your graves, O my people, and I will bring you into the land of Israel.
This is not talking about a reincarnation or resurrection. No. Most how can you bring something clean out of something unclean? When you die, your body is an unclean vessel now. Whoever handles it has to go through a purification state. Right. You have to go through, you got to get sprinkled with the waters of purification. All that has to happen. So who could bring something clean out of something unclean? So they're not talking about a reincarnation. It's not talking about this. This is talking about the condition of a people. Of people being dead. It's not talking about somebody actually opening up a grave, coming out of your coffin, and you got maggots and worms rolling all over you, and the Most High is going to bring something out of it. It's not talking about that. Let's go.
Verse 13. And ye shall know that I am Jehovah, when I have opened your graves and caused you to come up out of your graves.
The graves, you know what's the graves? The places that we live in. South Central LA, Little Rock, Arkansas. That's our graves.
The church you attend.
All those places.
Come on, Chief.
Read on.
Verse 14. And I will put my spirit in you, and ye shall live, and I will place you in your own land, and ye shall know that I, Jehovah, have spoken and performed it, saith Jehovah.
So this is what it's talking about that servant being in a dead state of mind. Not saying that we're going to be physically all cut off. It's talking about a condition of a people.
Okay.
This is what Isaiah 53 is talking about.
That's right. Come on, Chief.
Let's go back to Isaiah 53.
Isaiah chapter 53, verse 9.
You gotta stay up there.
Go ahead.
And they made his grave with the wicked, and with the rich his tomb.
So what Christians use this as, because he got crucified and the two thieves were next to him.
Okay.
Come on, man. We already made it clear that this is talking about the nation of Israel. If you can't see that yet, then I don't know what else I could do for you.
It's not your calling.
It's not your calling. It's talking about the nation of Israel. Let's go.
Although he had done no violence, neither was any deceit in his mouth.
It's talking about that period of time. We had done no violence against them. against the people who oppressed us.
Okay, like today.
Right.
Like today. We don't harm them, we harm ourselves.
That's right. Come on.
Let's go.
Yet it pleased Jehovah to crush him by disease, to see if his soul would offer itself in restitution, that he might see his seed prolong his days.
Oh, no, it's not talking about his seed. Once again, it's talking about seed. And seed is it's something directly that comes from a man. Seed. Say that he shall see his seed. Anybody here that's familiar with Christianity, did Jesus have any son?
No.
Did he have a daughter?
No.
In fact, he died a young man, didn't he?
Yes.
He died a young man. So it could have been talking about that Christ. It could not have been talking about that Jesus that our people love so much. Let's go.
That he might see his seed prolong his days, and that the purpose of Jehovah might prosper by his hand. Of the travail of his soul he shall see to the full, even my servant.
My servant again is talking about that servant again. It's talking about Yisrael. Let's go.
Who by his knowledge did justify the righteous one to the many, and their iniquities he did bear.
We bore their iniquities, the wrong that they did.
Come on, Chief. Come on now.
We bore their iniquities. We bore it because we knew better. You see, it's like something that I know y'all heard it y'all have heard it 1,000 times. It's like when you got children, right? Okay. And you got the oldest child, and then that oldest child has 3 other little siblings, and you leave the word with the oldest child that this and thus has to be done before I get back home. Right. And you come back home and the house is upside down. First you punish that oldest one. Right. And that's what happened to us. That's why we bore their iniquities.
That's right. Right. We knew better.
And not literally that we bore their iniquities. We bore our iniquities because of what we did. Because we didn't set things straight. Because guess what? I can't die for you. You can't die for me. Okay. I can't bear your sins. You can't bear my sins. Okay. So this is Isaiah speaking and putting it in a poetic form.
Right. Go astray.
That's right. We caused them to go astray. Read on.
Therefore will I divide him a portion among the great, and he shall divide the spoil with the mighty, because he bared his soul unto death, and was numbered with the transgressors. Yet he bore the sin of many, and made intercession for the transgressors.
You hear that? We made intercession for the transgressors. We was the one, the nation of Israel. We are that servant of the Most High God. We are the one that today you can still see it. You still see that we still in that predicament. And the Most High, hopefully, will bring us back soon to that land which he promised our fathers. And that he will redeem us from the lands of our captivities. Life events shared by Horus and Jesus.
Break down Horus.
Stories from the life of Horus have been circulating for centuries before Jesus. Birth circa 4 to 7 BCE, before the Common Era. If any copying occurred by the writers of the Egyptian of Christian religions, it was the followers of Jesus who incorporated into his biography the myths and legends of Horus, not vice versa. So in other words, that the authors of the life of Jesus copied from Horus, because Horus was before Jesus. Okay. The myth of Horus was before Jesus. Author and theologian Tom Harper studied the works of 3 authors who have written about ancient Egyptian religion. So we know that Horus was an Egyptian god. Godfrey Higgins, 1771, 1834. Gerald Massey, 1828 to 1907. And Alvin Boyd Kuhn, 1880 to 1963. Harper incorporated some of their findings into his book, Pagan Christ. Campaign for Egyptian religion. Author Gerald Massey discovered nearly 200 instances of immediate correspondence between mythical Egyptian material and the allegedly historical Christian writings about Jesus. Horus indeed was the archetypical pagan Christ. Comparison in some of life events of Horus and Jesus. Event: Horus Yeshua Nazareth, aka Jesus. Conception by a virgin. Horus by a virgin. There is some doubt about this matter. Jesus by a virgin. Father
Of Horus.
Event. Father, only begotten son of God Osiris. This is Horus. He was the only begotten son of the god Osiris. Jesus, only begotten son of supposedly Yah, in the form of the Holy Spirit. Mother, Horus was Mary, and in the life of Jesus, Mary, or in Hebrew, if you want to say it, Miriam. Foster father, Horus, foster father. That's what it says. I ain't even know JJ. Well, you know, it says Zeb or Yosef. And to Jesus, this is for Horus, Seth. For Jesus, it was Joseph. Because naturally, Joseph could not have been his father because it wasn't Joseph's seed that impregnated Mary. Right? Foster father's ancestry. Of Horus, it was a royal descent. And of JJ, it was supposed to be that of King David.
Right.
Birth location. Horus in a cave. Jesus in a cave or stable. Annunciation. Horus by an angel to Isis, his mother. Of Jesus by an angel to Miriam, his mother. Birth heralded by Horus, the star Sirius, the morning star. Don't start saying that you can't use Sirius radios now. Because, you know, black people take things out of context. Yeah. Oh, Sirius was the name of a star, of a god of the Egyptians. No. Yeah. Continue. If you got your Sirius radios, all right. Don't start throwing your Sirius radios out your cars.
It's being sound like.
All right, so Horus, the star Sirius, the morning star. This is the birth heralded, it said heralded by. And by Jesus, an unidentified star in the east. Birth date. Ancient Egyptians paraded, this is Horus. Ancient Egyptians paraded a manger and child representing Horus through. Jesus celebrated on December 25th, the date. Next page. Alright, the streets at the time of the winter solstice, typically December 21st. So this was when Horus was paraded around during the winter solstice, and that's where, remember I always tell you that they got the birth of, in the New Testament it's never recorded the birth of Christ. No. It's not recorded.
Not recorded.
But the birth, what we know today of the birth of Christ, December 25th, coincides with the winter solstice, which the Egyptians celebrated as the birth of Horus. Okay. And they paraded during this season the figure of a child of the manger representing the birth of Horus around the winter solstice. So in reality, what we get from Christianity and what our Christian counterparts get from Christianity is what they're celebrating is the birth of Horus, right, not the birth of Jesus Christ.
Which is the birth of the Son.
Which is the birth of the Son.
Sun God.
Thank you, the Sun God. Right. Thank you very much, Chief Natanya. Was chosen to occur on the same day as the birth of Mithras, the Oniasis, and the sole Invictus, unconquerable son. Saying this is the life story of Jesus. Birth announcement by angels. This is Horus. Of Jesus by angels. This is the comparison. Birth witnesses. Horus, shepherds. Jesus, shepherds. Later witnesses to birth. Horus, 3 solar deities. Jesus, 3 wise men. Death threat during infancy. Horus, Herod tried to have Horus murdered. Jesus, Herod tried to have Jesus murdered.
Same thing.
Handling the threat.
Way before Jesus.
Horus, the god tells Horus, mother, come, thou goddess Isis, hide thyself with thy child. Jesus, an angel tells Jesus' father to arise and take the young child and his mother and flee into Egypt. Rite of passage ritual. Horus, Horus came of age with a special ritual when his eye was restored. Jesus, taken by parents to the temple for what is today called a bar mitzvah ritual. Age at the ritual. Horus, 12. Jesus, 12. Breaking life history. Horus. No data between ages of 12 and 30. Jesus. No data between ages of 12 and 30. Baptism location. Horus in the river Eridanus. Jesus in the river Jordan. Age at baptism. Horus, age 30. Jesus, age 30.
They stole everything.
Baptized by Horus, Anub the baptizer. Jesus, John the Baptist. Subsequent fate of the baptizer. Horus, beheaded. Jesus, beheaded. These were the baptizers. So in the instance of Jesus, it was John the Baptist. He got beheaded. Yeah. And Anub the baptizer, he also got beheaded. So it's showing you the similarities between Horus, the life of Horus, and the life of Jesus. Where the Christian fathers, they put this whole story together from the life of Horus.
Centuries before Jesus.
Temptation. Taken from the desert, this is Horus, taken from the desert of Aminta up a high mountain by his arch rival Sut. Sut, aka Set, was a precursor for supposedly Satan.
Right.
JJ, taken from the desert in Palestine up a high mountain by his arch rival Satan.
God of the night.
It goes on, people. Result of temptation. Horus resists temptation. Jesus resists temptation. Close followers. Horus, 12 disciples. There were 12 disciples. Jesus, 12 disciples. Activities. Horus walked on water, cast out demons, healed the sick, restored sight to the blind. He stilled the sea by his power. Jesus walked on water, cast out demons. We just read that he cast out demons, didn't we? Healed the sick, restored sight to the blind. He ordered the sea with a peace. He ordered the sea with a peace be still command.
Identity therefore.
Yeah, identity there. Raising of the dead. Horus raised Osiris, his dead father, from the grave. Jesus raised Lazarus from the grave. And I just saw you can't bring something clean out of something unclean. There's a whole lot more right here. But what we could do is we could make copies of this, and you could see for yourself. And you can entertain your friend and see what's going on. Nobody can make that comparison about our Tanakh and our Torah. Our book is pure.
Yeah, that's right. It's not a myth.
It's not a myth.
That's right.
We didn't believe in more than one God. Like I told you earlier, we brought the concept of one God to the East. So I hope that you gotten something out of what I brought today. I hope that the lesson was something that you could write down, and you could maybe if you were having doubts about our book, that you have no doubts anymore.
Come on.
How great this king is.
Yes.
You cannot compare our king to any other God. There is only one God. His name is Jehovah Elohim. Jehovah God. He's the one that gives us sight of everything. And he's the one that will never fail us. Even when you think that you're on the brink of failure or something is going to go wrong in your life, if you call on him, he delivers you.
That's right.
He delivers you.
Don't come in man form.
That's right. He don't come in man form. He's not tangible. You can't put your hands on him. You can't chase him down. This is not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Yehovah our God. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.